Welcome to the Circuit of Success Podcast.
The Circuit of Success Podcast.
With your host,
Brett
Gilliland.
Brett Gilliland, Visionary Wealth Advisory.
The Circuit of Success Podcast. Let's start the show.
Well, thank you all for being here beyond the finish line. Dawn Harper-Nelson. Dawn Harper-Nelson is here with us, and we're super excited. She lives here in town, which is cool.
I do. I love it. Have to come home. I had to.
I love it. But again, beyond the finish line. So the first one, some of you were here. We had a great group. We had Beyond the broadcast booth with Brad Thompson and Chip Carey, the announcers for the Cardinals. And then tonight we've got this. We've got another one that we think got done today that we're going to have in August. That will be a big deal. It's going to be called Beyond the Buck. I won't tell you who the people are, but it's going to be pretty fun.
Giving us a
but anyway, let me just read a couple things again from my notes here. Dawn Harper-Nelson, 100-meter hurdle gold medal in Beijing, 2008. First, a gold medal, a silver medal in the London 2012 Olympics.
fan.
There's been one person that's ever gone back-to-back Olympics in the hurdles and medals. Anybody know who it is? No, there's been one person that we just showed you the gold and the silver.
They're hiding here.
There's been one person.
Right, sicker.
All right. End of the night. Right at the end. This group's not going to get it. We're not going to get it.
I met everyone here.
2017 World Champions. 2022 UCLA Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Get this one. 6-time high school state champ. And she didn't even get to do it her sophomore year, which we'll get to talk about later.
I still hold the record in the 100-meter hurdles of a bang bang.
She is a wife.
Yeah.
To her amazing husband who could beat up everybody in here right now. And he is a track coach for Belleville West, Alonzo. And so they just got third in the state championship track and best since 2011. Is that right? So 2011, last time the Cardinals won the World Series. And you're winning. So they got a lot of stuff to work up to. But a wife, a mom, and now an Emmy award-winning
Exactly.
commentator for the Olympics for NBC.
That is the mic drop. Thank you. That is the mic drop. So with that really quick, I actually sent him a message. I said, he's going to read my credentials. And I haven't told him this one yet. So that one just happened last month. It was announced that we won. So yes, I know what is happening. It hasn't arrived at the house. When it comes to the house, you all can see it. Great.
Well, like I always do, and you hinted this about a year and a half ago on the podcast, is what has helped make you the woman you are today?
That is such open question. Let's get started. A huge part for me has to be family. I am family. Just like when he said, you live here, I had to come back. This is where my heart is. I've always felt like this is where I can be myself. I always say I go out, I get on a plane, and I compete against the world, fight the world. I come home, and it's just like Dawn's home. Not Olympic champion, not the Dawn's home. The silly girl, it just has to be family. I've always felt supported by them. That's where I got my drive from. Acceptance, just everything. So I think who made me the woman that I am has to be family. And then to now marry my husband and have my 2 girls, I see in them, I'm like, my mother's like, that one is you. Just so you know what you were like at 2, that's you. So it's family.
6 and 2?
Yep, 6 and 2. Poof. Yep, we're in the thick of it.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So we're going to dive into some kind of the mental mindset type questions. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you believe your success has been your physical ability versus your deliberate practice?
That is a good one. Why did I sign up for this? That is good. Because that's a real thinking question. And I feel like no matter what I say, I feel like some of it may kind of change throughout the years, right? Some of it you may mentally feel like you were just out of it, but physically you put in the work and you just went into autopilot. Some just physically, I don't have it, but mentally you lock in and you get it done. So I would say in general, maybe, on a scale like 1 to 10, I don't like you for this question. I don't know why. Maybe I'm 50-50 because I just truly feel like without the, I just couldn't. Yeah. I know how much of a mental monster I was on the track, and I am. And that would mean nothing if I did put in the work. And you can put in all the work, but girlfriend, if that head isn't all right, who cares? I beat so many people because I looked them in their eyes and I'm like, oh, you're not there. Like, you're beat. And I know that you're in your season where you're primed and ready more than me, but mentally you're not there. So I had to beat. So I don't know what's happening.
Talk about what it was like working with Bob Kersee, Jackie Joyner Kersee's husband. What was that like as your coach?
There's no way to express how intense that is, but I have one example. I'd love to share this story. Bobby Kersee, he trains you both. He trains both, the physical and the mental. I was still at UCLA when this happened. It was like 4 groups of us. So the first group, we had 200. So we're finishing the workout. Everyone is dog tired. We're now it's the mental. I mean, the first group misses their time. So say we're supposed to come through in 25. They were in like 26. Next group, so 20, 27. I mean, it was just miss. And all of a sudden, Bobby just leaves the track. And we're like, where is Bobby? Like, are we done? What's happening? And he walks out and it's a chair like this one. He's dragging it. And then he turns it around and he just goes, you don't give me my motherfucking time. I will pay the damn lights to stay on. So he said, I will pay to keep UCLA lights on if you don't give me my mother-loving time. First group went about 23 seconds. The next group went about 24. So it's all up there. And I know that sounds intense, but he's like, I need you to understand you gave into the physical. The mental is there. Everyone can make it to this last rep, but will you give me my time? So now you were supposed to be done and you did an extra rep and you ran faster. So that means you had what it took. So that is kind of how so for me, I've been very intent on remembering those moments. Like some people go through them and they're like, he was just yelling. That was crazy. I'm like, no, what was his message? Like, I can't get past the anger and the light and I'm like, he's right. So that situation will never happen to me again. That I will be the one person that will make my son. So that's just an example, but you're bought into the program by the time he can talk to you and kind of do those types of things, right? And it sounds intense, but to someone that wants to win an Olympic gold one day, that's what I felt I needed.
Looking for the mess.
That's it.
Can I do me a favor? Can we take one?
Yes.
I was afraid this thing's pretty sensitive. It's going to pick it up. And why is the silver medal bigger than the gold medal?
So the only thing that has to be the same is the front, the logo, the Olympic logo has to remain the same. The back of them, each Olympics can have their own unique, design. So that means the size can be bigger, smaller. So one of my training partners from 2004 Olympics, she won the hurdles. Hers is smaller than my 2008 and 2012. So she's so mad, like my 2004. I said, that's terrible.
Yeah. So
I know, it's like, oh, there.
Another attention to detail. Tell them about that shirt you're wearing.
Yes. So the awesome thing is I can still fit it. This is from 2008. So each Olympic team, you get official gear. And so Ralph Lauren was the sponsor, and you get this huge bag, things you can't wear it all. Like, especially because when you get there, you're wearing your competition gear, not gear like this to walk around in. You have the opening ceremony, closing ceremony, regular clothes to really just kind of stunt on people, all the things. And so this is one shirt that I often kind of just pop out because it has the number, 08, and then on the back has, the logo of that. So it just kind of really puts in, a perspective of like, no one else is.
That's awesome. Talk to us. One of my biggest things I'm most fascinated by every Olympics is you do something, and I think it was 48 seconds of total time in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
But it took you 4 years. Obviously, you got the World Championships, you got other stuff. But the biggest thing, right? The Masters, if you will, for your husband, the new golfer, the Masters of the Olympics, right? And so you have 48 seconds that you're training for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Talk about that.
That you have to see the big picture. It is very hard to train today for something that is in not this coming August, in next August, that will in essence really be 12 seconds. And so when you said 48, it's 4 rounds of it. So I have to take it one at a time. So he said 48. In my mind, it's only 12 because if I don't do this first round right, the next 3 rounds, they don't exist. So I'm really training for 12 seconds. That's how you have to. So every day I have to understand if I slack off today, but they're at practice. So I just gave them a step on me. And so being someone that can buy into understanding if it was today, today, that's how you live your life. If today is next August, I can't, it's here for me. And so today is next August, because if I eat that ice cream, because the days start to add up, and then over time you get at the line, and in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, you didn't really do all the work. You didn't really do all the work. But you line up against somebody like me that is like, I did everything, and I'm here to eat you alive. Because the one thing I'm sure of is my dream will live today, and yours will die. That's just the reality of it. Because if you're both here for gold, it's only made one. I'm going home happy, you'll be sad. I'm very ruthless when it came to the reality of it, but that's what it had to be. So that's what it's like.
Well, thanks for being here tonight. You got enough. I mean, that's the mindset, right? I mean, that's the mindset of Olympian Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
I think that guy, like, he was talking about the 0.02 seconds.
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about. And you told me this one time, and I love this, and maybe you'll give it the same story.
Okay.
Talk about the race when you won the gold medal, every step of the race. Walk us through from the starting block to the finish line.
Okay. Well, the thing about that race was, I always say, I felt like a baby going into that race. That was the first Olympics. Yes, you had done all this training. And my coach said it's the same 100 meters. So from this line to down there, you could pick this track up and drop it into Belleville West track. It's the same 100 meters. Drop it into UCLA track. It's the same 100 meters. The only thing that changes is how you see it. It's the only thing. And so for me, trying to say, okay, it's the same 100 meters when, no, it's 80,000 fans here. Sally from Australia, Perdita from, Canada. And you just name it. And you're like, nope, the world's here. But I go out onto the track and I look up, and I kid you not, it looked like the stands went as high as the I was like, I literally got dizzy. I was like, oh, I will never look up again. That was just intense. But my coach told me, I need you to run like a horse with blinders on. I do not care what she does or she does, because if you don't focus on yourself, you will clip a hurdle and it all goes away in the blink of an eye. And so I'm getting in the blocks, and I'm literally like, I had 4 jobs going into this. I'm not going back to my jobs. I want this to be my only job. So I get in the blocks and the gun goes off, and I'm running well, so I think, because I have a horse with blinders on. But I see someone's foot, and his Gilliland London. That's her name, but she runs for Jamaica. Confusing. Gilliland London. And I remember thinking, we're not winning. Go to work. And so I'm like, well, go to work. And by the time I got to the 10th hurdle, I lean, and I'm leaning for my life. Like, I am ready to sacrifice it all. I lean for my life. And when I look up, I truly do not know how I've done it, because I literally ran with, of course, blinders on. And I see Sally from Australia start screaming. And I'm like, I got second, baby, because I knew that I got a medal. And so I'm like, we got second. And then Priscilla from Canada starts cheering. And I'm like, I got third. I'm just dropping myself down. And the other American, Damu Cherry, she came and she said, no, Dawn, look, you won. And I saw my name at the top of the board, and it is the definition of every step matter, because if I saw her foot and was like, God, Bobby said get out there. Well, now we're at the 4th hurdle and 5th hurdle, and you thought about all these other things. Every step, where you place your people on the track matters. Everything. You have to carry 10 hurdles. It's 3 steps. It's 8 to the first hurdle. It's 8 steps to the first hurdle, 3 in between, and then 5 off the hurdle. If at any step, oh man, well, if you didn't fix it, I had to carry with every single step. So, and I hope that sums up what you were asking.
Well, what's funny is it did sum it up. It's awesome. It fires me up. But that story, think about that. That story takes longer than the 12 seconds to run the dang race.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it's like, that's the preparation that goes, where my pinky's at versus, are you leaning? Did you lean at the end?
I leaned for my life.
Yeah.
Sure did. There was no holding back, because you don't want to not lean because you got caught. You're like, if I would have, then that was because 2012. You'll ask me about that a little later, but that lean came into play.
Yeah.
You saw that was silver.
So talk to us about that day. So now we know the end result. We know you won a gold medal. Talk to us about that day, or maybe even the night before, going to sleep, waking up from the alarm clock to the starting.
Yeah. So when we even got to Beijing, when you get off the plane, they told you the apartment buildings that they had built, if someone won a gold medal and had stayed in this room, they were selling it for $1 million. And I remember saying, man, I hope they have to sell mine for $1 million. Like, that's all I kept thinking is it. And so, the night before, you try and get good sleep like that. I'm sorry. I don't know who can just knock out 8 hours and tomorrow your life is on the line. And, I set my alarm and stuff, but I got okay sleep. The next day, you kind of peeking at the clock, so say you wake up at 8, I'm looking at like 4 or 30, and finally get up and you go to the dining hall. So that's a huge dining hall where it's food for all different types of countries because the world is there, right? And it never fails. In the back far right is a McDonald's. And they always have a long line. Don't you worry. You would think all these Olympic athletes, no, we want our ice cream, who want our burgers. So go there, get my food. But preparation is the night before, to be honest. I always write out the day in detail. Like I have on a piece of paper when the alarm will go off. When I'm really going to go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, I need to have my clothes on by this time. I'm leaving the door at this time. I will meet my friend in the dining hall at this time. I should have my food and be eating around this time. I will be done with that and walking back out of the dining hall at this time. Back in my room, I'll put on my clothes. The bus leaves at this time, so I'll be standing there for the bus at this time, get on the bus. The bus ride is about this long. When I get off the bus, I want to get there a certain amount of time ahead. I want about hour 45 for warm-up. Okay, so hour 45 for my warm-up. So that means I'm going to get there at least 2.5 hours ahead of time. And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching everyone else warm up. I have my music in, but I'm trying to stay in my zone. Not get too caught up in what you're doing and you're doing and you're doing and you're doing. Bobby comes out and he's like, all right, how much time until your warm up? And I'm like, about 30 minutes. And he's like, I'll be back in 30. 30 minutes, I start my warm up. He's telling me little cues here and there. And all I'm caring about is how I feel and what he says. I don't care about the moment yet because it's not here. I have to warm up and be ready. If he tells me stepping into that hurdle, it was a little lazy. I need to be more aggressive. That's all I care about on my next rep. I mean, every detail matters. And then you have the call time. So that's what time you have to be into this big tent where all the 9 runners will be there for the race. And so they'll say first call, and that's about an hour and a half for the race. Well, last call is about an hour. And so you're sitting in there for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes before your race is going off.
With everybody you're racing against.
Everyone you're racing against. All 9 ladies, 8 other ladies. And so then what they do last call, you walk up to the track, and then it's go time. So that I'm detailed. So all this planning is done the night before. So when I lay my head down, there's no like, what time is it? What time should I don't do that on the day before.
So it's quite, I don't expect anybody in the room to answer this, but you think about like business owners, right, that we are, how many of us are that detailed in our day, right?
Yeah.
And yet that's why we want to go win gold medal.
Yeah. Yes, you have to. Because another thing is, what if my bus, I still do that. Because now it comes into play with the girls, right?
Still do that.
I mean, come on.
He's like, he still does.
Yeah, I do because, okay, well, if we have to be here at this time, but I know Zoe, my youngest, often does this, I have to plan, give her the 30-minute cushion. I don't have time for that because we're leaving the house at 8 o'clock. All right. She needs to accept it at 2. He needs to. It's just what's happening.
And you'll be here.
So, right. But just those types of things. But I'll say when I do all this planning for me when I was a professional track athlete was because, well, what if this bus comes a little late? That's why I want to be there at least 2.5. And that happens. You would think, no bus for Olympic athlete. It's supposed to show up at 2 o'clock. It'll come at 2:15. Well, now you've eaten into my 45-minute cushion. Now I have 30 minutes. I plan for that. Don't worry. Everyone else is on the bus like, I'm supposed to start warming up in 5 minutes. I'm like, hurt you? I got a 30-minute cushion. And so you have to plan for those things to help you mentally stay in your headspace. You're panicking now, and now I have an edge on you. Well, we may be ready to run the same time, but I have an edge on you because you didn't plan properly. So
love it. What's your self-talk like? I often say the 6 inches between our 2 ears is the most dangerous spot on earth. At least it is for me sometimes. So your self-talk on good days and bad days, are they different? Or how does that work out?
Yes, I am. Good days. My talks are always relatively intense. Like I'm just when it comes to competing, I'm an intense person.
Are they out loud or to yourself?
Half and half lifestyle. I know I look crazy on some days. I'm very aware of that. I go like there's some videos of me hitting into the blocks, and it looks like my mouth is because I'm giving myself cues, but I'm saying them out loud. And I'm sure my competitors have to know what my cue is because I'm saying it like head down, head down, head down, head down, head down, Dawn, head down, head down, head down, head down, head down. I don't care about her. She should be saying her own cue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so on days where obviously it's a good day, obviously each day starts off the same, the things that you want to do. You're just reminding yourself like, you're ready for the moment. You plan for this. Let's have a good day. We're not going to take any heaviness into it. I don't care what happened yesterday, day before. And this is going to sound, luckily I'm married to someone that gets it. In that moment, family doesn't matter. Like nothing else matters but this moment. And so we're not taking the issue or argument that we maybe had. I'm like, Alonzo, just all the things in that moment. I'm thinking about this. And and so, just really trying to go into it as light as possible because I know what the ultimate goal is. And then after race, obviously it goes well. You just put that in the bank of like, we're ready for that big moment, because you have to add it. The all adds up. And then obviously on a bad day, I'm just trying to figure out what went wrong. Like why? Immediately, I'm just processing. In the race, if my third hurdle goes wrong, in a race, I know what went wrong though. But I'm trying to figure out like, why did you let that? Was it someone else? What did you? Oh, okay, it was because you didn't this and that. But if it's a big race, I am extremely hard on myself. I shattered my phone in Russia because my race went bad. Like as soon as the race got done, I was injured, so I really shouldn't have been running. But if I line up, I want to win. So the injury went out the window, and all I'm thinking of is I didn't win. And this is something that I said I had to work on. My coach told me, Bobby Kersee said, if you take your losses this hard, you will never make it in this sport. That's how I go, like, he should be like, oh, you will say, I go here. Like, I go into just, why, what happened? I do. And I got my phone, and I mean, we're in a parking lot, and this is concrete. iPhones are made of glass. And I just, shatter it. And my husband's walking around, picking up. He's like, no, that's my phone, my wife's piece of her phone. Can you hand me that piece? And that's something that I had to work on. And it's been a blessing and a curse because I can connect with so many people, athletes that I talk to, they kind of have that moment of like, and you see them, and you're like, you think no one hit, right? I pretty much torn up a hotel room. So I get it. Being able to connect in that way. So sometimes when I think of the moments that weren't so pretty and, oh, this is so nice, I truly think of like, oh, I could use that for someone. Yeah. I'm going to run into someone that I can talk to help them come out of that slump or to help them realize you don't have to go here. You're not worthless. Everything didn't go bad. If you ended the race and you're still healthy, you can fight back. You didn't end it and you let yourself off. You know what I mean? Or it's a career-ending injury. So that I had to work on my self-talk. I always came out of it, but I would stay in it too long. And so I'm okay with having your moment. So this is what I tell people, you have to have a moment. It's crazy to act like you didn't care about this. Have your moment, but you can't stay there.
Yeah.
So
it makes me think of two things. Number one is you got to be kind of crazy to be super successful. Fair? I mean, I'd say everybody up here is kind of crazy, right? And it makes me think, so Tim, my business partner, Visionary, I said every day when we were starting Visionary, people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. I didn't say that, Steve Jobs did, right? But my point is like, if you're going to go do something, you got to be semi-crazy to think you can do it and be successful at it.
100%. I also say my race has 10 barriers in them. And with everything that I can muster up, I want to run at them as fast as I can. We got to be a little off your rocker to want to run at 10 barriers. And then if one goes wrong, you're like, I want to go faster. But I take that into life. That is absolutely what you said. If we always just look at this thing of like, okay, that chair exists, so I just want to do that. So I want to create chairs. It's like, no, I want to do something different. I don't want to do the same thing that I see. If you have a desire, if you have a push, chase that. And if it doesn't work, well, then that's fine. But I just don't want to live this life of, I just did what people either told me I should do or the norm or no, a little bit of it. Just live life on the edge and see if we can change this thing.
That's right. So it makes me then the last thing, not the last thing for tonight, but the last thing on that day that I want to talk about is the podium.
Yes.
Right. So as I've gotten older, I think I'm getting a little softer because I'm watching the Olympics and I'm tearing up. Right? So when that happens and they call your name and you go up there and they start raising that flag, talk about that process.
Everything goes through your mind. You know how you see someone that does an edit of like a recap of 2024?
Yeah.
All that, for me, that's what happened, because you think of all the sacrifices. I will not cry because you do. I can easily go back to that moment of remembering I working 4 jobs to chase this crazy dream of someone saying you have a better chance of being struck by lightning than winning the Olympics. You're crazy for chasing that. Like, who would? You have a degree from UCLA. My father told me track was very fun. It's time to get a real job. He said, we sent you there to get paid. Your education paid for. Now get a job. Think about this. My father is living life. He knows what it's like to be an adult, take care of things, all these things. I should listen to him. He knows he has a good blueprint not to chase this dream that I had. And so I had to tell my father, thank you so much for, your advice, but I don't want to talk about this anymore because I'm not asking for any money. I'm going to work my 4 job and I'm going to chase this dream. And if it doesn't work out in these 2 years, then I will go get a job. I don't want to live my life saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. And all of that goes to your mind on the post. Like, if you think, because like, how long were you up there? Long enough to think, if at any moment, I said, man, if at any moment I listen to the stranger over here that's like, but your training group is a defending Olympic champion. You think you're going to meet her? Yeah. Like, realizing that I had found my support group that was going to roll with me, good and bad, and all the ice cream that I sacrificed, number was going to hold me back. Seriously. So that to get on that podium and to just go through that checklist of all the things I had overcome, all the naysayers, but then to realize being from the city of East St. Louis, the last person to do was Jackie Joyner Kersee. Like, Jackie Joyner Kersee. I went to UCLA and people said, you'll never finish your first quarter at UCLA. You're from East St. Louis. You don't know enough. Wow. How could you? They bet my uncle this in a barbershop. So that, I'm stepping on the podium thinking of that. They didn't have the things. This is even crazier. And then to have my mom, my dad, my sister in the stands. And you're like, we're in Beijing. I got my family to Beijing from East St. Louis. Just everything. And that is why people have said, why do they cry so much on the podium? I mean, why? Because you think of every moment that it could not have happened. My sophomore year, I tore my PCL and my meniscus in my knee. And the doctors were like, you might not ever run that stuff. Like, you haven't even developed. Like, what do you, if I'd have said, okay, at 15, the dream's never realized. So just all.
So it's funny. So that's right where I was going. So I think,
here we go.
As we get older again in our businesses and we have younger people working for us, I think it's easy to look at somebody and say, oh, Andy, you've always been successful, right? And it's like, well, no, you don't know what I've been through, right? So talk to us about the career-ending injury your sophomore year of high school and then how you got through that.
Really blessed to find great people. So Coach Nino Fenoy was my coach. So Nino Fenoy, my high school coach, he coached Jackie Joyner Kersee. So that just tells you the type of pedigree. He's very, very smart. A genius, I would say. And training under him, something's in my eyes, sorry. Training under him. And I come in my 9th grade year. I had only been hurdling for a year. And then I win state my freshman year in the 300 hurdles and the 100 hurdles that break the state record. And that was unheard of because they had just merged the 2 high schools, Lincoln and Eastside. So 9th grade, I mean, you're going against seniors. I mean, we have kids, a 14-year-old going against an 18-year-old. Okay. Like, really in any sport is just unheard of. But I had a coach in Coach Benoit. He's like, don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. At practice, he's moving me up in the group. Like, if you can go this route, go, go, go. And so that all I had really known is just to be pushed. And then my sophomore year, to injure my knee the day before sectionals. So sectionals, I'm at 4 events. This is what qualifies you for state. And obviously, I want to be the first ever win the 100 hurdles and 300 hurdles 4 years in a row, because no one had ever done it. Well, I did it my freshman year, so I'm like, oh my God, I could really do this. And I injured my knee the day before sectionals. I just know, like, it felt like this. Like, it literally just felt like nothing was really holding it together. But I'm like, wrap it up, coach. We're still running. So the next day, I run on my knee, and I do the 100 hurdles, and I win. 300 hurdles, I win. 200, I win. And the 4x1, and I win. And when we get done, my husband, okay, so I've known him since 8th grade. Funny story, when I finished my last race at that sectionals, he's standing at the finish line. Kids aren't supposed to be there. He's standing at the finish line, and I fall into his arms. So dramatic. Like, love story in the making. But literally, I fell into his arms, and my knee is the size of a balloon. And we go to state. The doctor said, her knee's not going to make it for 4 events. Like, it's a torn PCL and meniscus. She cannot do 8 runs. So he'll be running 8 times. So 4 on Friday and 4 on Saturday. It's like she's going to do damage where we won't be able to come back from it. I beg and cry. And mind you, I'm summing this all up. I'm sitting in the back of the physical therapist's van, and they're like, we have to pull her from everything. And I cry, and I'm like, if you love me, let me run the 100 hurdles. Let me have that one. And they say, okay. They let me run, and I could not bend my knee to get in the blocks. So I basically have to do like this to start. And I end up getting second. And the way I cried, I felt like my life was over, because the goal that I knew was gone. The life that I wanted was gone. And so let me just say this to us in here that have kids, that are parents. Sometimes, like, we know the future as in it's not over. Like, you're a sophomore, you'll be fine. But I can easily go back to that moment, and it's like, no, I feel like I'm going to die. Like, I feel like this is over. And so being that athlete is so helpful to feel acknowledged in that moment. And so sometimes when dealing with kids younger, it's not always that deep, like, oh, you're doing the most. Like, look at them over there being dramatic. Life that they know does not exist anymore. And that's what I felt like. And I know this is the long answer.
No, that's great.
But no, so my father was upset, because he's like, your knee isn't even, it's not even intact. Why is she sad? And my mom is like, you don't know how hard she's trained for this. Like, you have no idea. Every Sunday morning before church, I get up and I will do these monster lifts on my house. I do those. My coach didn't actually do it. I knew I'm still going to church. Come on. I'm still going to church. So I know I still have to go to church.
We're by a hospital.
Right, yes. How they get to hell? And so I know we're still leaving for church at like 9:30. So my mother's like, if you want to do these seals, you need to get up before. So I'm up at 7 in the morning as a kid, just on my own. This is just an example of how bad I wanted this. So I hit second. Now I have to have knee surgery. We don't know what the recovery will be like. And it's my whole summer is gone. I run cross country. But even in running cross country, everything I did, I ran the opposite direction. So on the track, you run this way. So this is the circle. This. Because on this injury, you don't want to put too much pressure on it. So I had to train this way. So all my runs, my teammates are going that way. I have to go this way. So I'm running by myself. So now I have a full fall of training on my own. We still don't know what the will be like. But when I say you find certain people, Dr. Lehman, and then my physical therapist, he was the world record holder in weight. I know, so random. When I tell you my life is a movie, he's a world record holder in weightlifting. And I'm not remember his class, but Derek Crass is his name. And I remember he taught me, this is how I know my longevity was partly because of him in the sport. He taught me the little details. So how to Olympic list, hang, clean, snatch, squat. I learned from the first time I ever picked up a weight was learning from a champion. I only knew So all that to say, I come back my junior and senior year, and I win state again in both the 100 hurdles, 300 hurdles, and break the state record. But there's so much that goes into chasing really any dream, but that dream of sports is the sacrifice. I mean, I didn't go anywhere with friends, really. I have my best friend, Ivory, and she just knew Dawn's not coming. She said, probably going to go do a run or something. But she was also there with me, when I won almost all my titles. So
Love it. I could ask 100 more questions. So how about you guys? Any questions you have come to mind for you? I can keep asking them, but if you got something you want to know, any good questions, Dimitri?
I mean, I'm amazed. I mean, you are an elite athlete. That there's 8 billion people in this world. And to win a gold medal, it's almost hard to fathom.
Yeah.
At what age did you really think, I want Olympic gold? And what made you different to say I can do it? Because, as we all know, I mean, elite athletes, there's a lot of people that can run. But why do you think your brain said, I can do this, or I want to do this? What in your life made you feel that way? Or it was just something in you?
So
Great question.
yeah, really good question. And it's funny because I hadn't been asked a version of this before. Like, when did you know? Like you were going to the Olympics. Well, I knew that I was different my 9th grade year because I just started hurdling my 8th grade year. And the first time I ever went over a hurdle, my coach for 4, his name was Gilliland, and he told me, I think with your speed and your intelligence, you can be the best hurdler in the world. What are you talking about? I am a flat sprinter, and I get third to the same 2 girls. Like, it was the same 2 girls that beat me. And the first time I ever went over a hurdle, he had me go over with my right. I'm a left lead. We didn't know that. So the first time I went over, he literally was like, that was atrocious. I have never seen anything this bad in my life. And I'm like, well, sorry to shatter your dreams. I'm like, sorry. And so he's like, no, come here. He told me to turn around, and he pushed me from my back, and I caught myself with my left. And he said, oh, you're a left lead. The next time I went over a hurdle, lead with this one first, I was better than everybody else on the team. And that was like, okay. I didn't know I was different. I knew, like, okay, this is 8th grade, right? What does that tell you? In 9th grade year, when I came in, and then you start to go against the big dogs. And then I also saw, like, no, I like this challenge. Like, not just that I'm winning, but I'm like, nah, I want more of this. Whatever this is, I'm trying to get a whole bunch of this. And I saw how hard I was willing to work. That's when I was like, okay, I'm different. It was my coaches. They did a lot of, let me talk to you for a second. Listen, a lot of people have come through East St. Louis, basically saying, don't get the big head. You're very talented, but you can ruin it all with one decision. I got that talk so many times. So that made you realize, like, okay, I get it. Like, I get it. Don't talk to boys. They're raggedy. They're just, crazy. Get my books. But I mean, it was relentless. Like, people, like, I would walk by him and he was like, come here real quick. Pretty good. I'm like, I get it. Like, so that made me, again, another light bulb. Like, okay, I must be pretty good. Everyone is trying to tell me, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. But I didn't dislike it, right? Some people, that's a lot. It's like, oh my God, it's always somebody trying to tell me what to do. And always, I took it as people are saying talent in me. People are saying talent in me. I didn't see it as a negative. I refused to have this dream and turn someone telling me you're great into a negative. People do that, right? Like, they're just like, it's just so much pressure, it's just too much for me. And so as I went through high school, starting to notice I was different. When I got to college was when I knew that I was willing to work the hardest for it. So there's a difference of, I want more of this, but you're not really amongst dogs. Like, when you get to college at UCLA, we were winning MCs. So we're the best of the best. And there were 2 girls that had been on the Olympic team already that were in my training group. And I saw what they were doing, and I'm like, I want in that group. I wasn't ready for it, but I want in that group. And my coach was like, one day, I want in that group. And I talked to Bobby Kersee, who's gotten at least 1 Olympic medal since, 1984 Olympics? Dang. And he says that with Olympic I was training for, he's like, one of you, so this is about his training group. He says, one of you all getting at least 1 gold medal. He said, I don't leave an Olympics without one. And I remember thinking, I'm getting out. Like, so in college is when I realized, no, I'm going to stay late. They're going to leave. When it's time, I'm going to get a veggie burger or I'm going to get a salad. People are like, oh, go get some ice cream. And I'm like, I heard they said we should get it today. What you doing? So it was those moments when I'm alone, not someone else telling me something, where I'm seeing that I'm still making the right decisions when no one else would know if I made the right decision. That's when I knew that, like, yeah, no, I'm going for this no matter what. So there's still no guarantee, but I knew that I was making the right decisions to go towards that, if that makes sense.
Great answer.
Do you think the athletes now that are going into the future, going into the future Olympics and all this, with the money that that's getting thrown at them, do you think that they're putting more focus on that aspect of it, and not putting as much focus on the training, what they should be? Is the influence of that by just mentally putting a block on their training and their aspirations?
I think it is truly changing what's important to many of these athletes at this time in their life. We all want a decent penny. Like, when I crossed the line, I was like, I'm not going back to 4 jobs. Like, you know what I mean? Let's just be honest. But I was also 24, right? I had also worked the 4 jobs to realize, oh, this is how bad I want it. I wasn't 17 now, because you can, high school, you can get money. Or I wasn't 19 in college and just got there and it's just like, oh, thank you, I'm making more than my parents, type of situation. So I wonder, how will these athletes truly face adversity? Like truly, because you left your parents, you went from kind of a protected situation, your parents' house, and you really still don't understand the value of a dollar. And you go to college and then you're thrown dollars. So when did you understand that I'm truly working to earn this dollar that I have? Because I'm really doing all that I've ever done. I haven't had to step up yet and change what I'm doing. I've seen a lot of athletes and talked to a lot of them that come across entitled. Now, understand, entitled athletes have always been there. So that's not what I'm saying, right? They've always been there. But if I wasn't looking for the money, now all of a sudden, I'm like, he's getting paid. I'm actually better than him, so maybe I should. And so it changes the focus, I think. And so it makes the conversation for coaches a lot harder, because they're coming in like, so, we're going to graduate. Parents are even like, well, that's nice, he's going to graduate. That's fine. But how much will he get? And they're not choosing schools that have a great graduation rate. And not asking that question, because they're like, oh, okay, they're going to pay you money. I'm like, but the athletes, they don't need to finish the 4 years. And you haven't taught them how to manage their money. And so absolutely, it has changed so much, because I am deep into this NIL with athletes. And the conversation from high school athletes are even like, so coach, I need to start getting paid. God, I will hurt you. No, you don't. You need to execute. And then we pray the money comes.
Yeah.
So
Go win 6 titles, we'll talk.
I say that all the time. I love it.
Any other questions out here? Robert?
So I'm not a sports guy. I come from a tech background, but when I look at doing something and doing something better than anyone else, a lot of it is, I'm sure, innovation. So in sports, is there ever something like, you as an athlete, you have the body and the mindset to do it? Does it just take a curriculum of training that's already been done 1,000 times before, but just executed at the maximum level? Or is there ever something that you can do as the athlete that's different than anyone else that puts you at a competitive edge to other athletes?
Yes. No, that's
Great question.
You're awesome and you are on point. Yes. There's always going to be something that works for you better than me, or you better than me in a sport. Like I studied hurdlers all the time, but cutting edge would be, so like I said, there's 8 steps to the first hurdle, right? Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you take off and you're hurdling. So some people pop straight up and they just, like, first step, they're like fixed and they run. My coach is like, I want you to drive, meaning head down. Don't look at the hurdle for the first 5 steps. People aren't doing that. People aren't doing that. Okay. So that would be different, cutting edge, dangerous, living on the edge. But are you going to do it? Are you going to commit? And then people are like, so now people are looking at you. What is she? what if she's beating us in the first hurdle? She's with us finally. Then there's always something that will work better for you. My trail leg, so this is the lead leg. This is what the trail leg does, right? I have a very big, like when it gets to this side, a lot of people drop here, okay? Mine does. See how much ground I just ate her? So people are trying to figure out how to get a bigger trail leg. Okay, well, does a small one work for me because I'm tall? So always figuring out what works for you. What's the cutting edge? Well, she's winning, so we're going to start studying her. But then someone else does it, and I'm like, it's not working. Well, what works for you? So it's always you finding that coach and what works for you. And so, yes, in sports, people are always trying to do that. An example also is it's called a toe drag, going out of the blocks. Like, so when you're in the blocks, you're down like this. And so some people cycle, do that. So the new thing people started, it's been years now, but they started to drag. It's faster to go this way than to go, right? So now everyone's trying, that was the new thing that came out. So everyone's studying that and they're trying to, so it's always being innovative and what could be, what are we going to do different to get you point A, point B faster? Always. Coaches are sitting down, scientists are studying. I mean, a full team is like us two. We're like, what did you
Right.
damn. I mean, everything matters. So yeah. And then also with diet, right? I mean, that's people are always studying that, trying to figure out how to get leaner here, this part of season. But then it's going to be a benefit to drop this percentage at this period of time. It is a real team.
McDonald's early.
I know, right?
I was blown away by that.
We throw it all out those. I know, right?
You had me at McDonald's.
Done today.
I'm fired up and tired all at the same time.
I know. I know you had.
Do you have another question, Laura?
You had a question.
Oh, no.
He raised his.
No, you raise your hand, Chris.
I was just curious, when you were competing, who was your biggest, I imagine you see the same ladies kind of frequently in your races. Who was your biggest sort of nemesis? And then also the one that you sort of maybe perhaps respected the most or liked the most when you were competing?
Competing, Sally Pearson from Australia. Yeah.
Think she'll see this?
Absolutely. We talk on Instagram now. She's a mother, I'm a mother. Why are we friends? I don't like it. So, no, absolutely. The challenge with that, with her being my arch nemesis, if you will. So, the first Olympics, I won gold, she got silver. The next Olympics, she got gold, I got silver. Terrible exchange. I would never recommend it. But what I will say is her being in Australia, winters, summers are different. And so certain times of the year, she was training different than I was, right? Cold here, hot there, it's just a mess. Racing someone in the States, I kind of have an idea of what they're doing certain times of year. Everyone's indoors because it's cold. Or if you're out LA, it's a little different, but West Coast is different. But you have an idea of what everyone's doing. Being from Australia, there are some differences that she was their best athlete by far. So she was going to go to the Olympics. Me, I had to compete. I had to literally show up at our Olympic trials, race 31 other athletes, so they took 32, and I had to be top 3. For her, like I said, right now, I'm training for next August. She's like, I'm in August. I'm there already.
Yeah.
So annoying to know that she was already going to be there. But it helped my edge because if I know who I'm racing to a certain extent. Like, I know that she's going to be ready. Sally has never showed up to a race not ready. She knows I'm going to be ready, and it's going to come down to who's going to be on that day. And it was funny how we didn't talk to each other. Like, we were sitting closer than this, and I knew she was there, but I didn't know she was there because I ain't looking to my right, and you can't pay me to look to my right. And she's not looking to her left. And if someone was over there, I'm like, I'll wait till they walk over here because I'm not looking over there. Because I got to stay in her head. I got to, it is, I'm serious. It is like that because in the call room, they lined the seats up and we're like side by side. So this seat is touching mine. Why would they put her beside me? I don't want to feel her heat. Like, I don't, seriously, it is, I mean, you're sitting there, you're like, man, I'm about to roll her. I don't know why they brought her. She is losing. She is losing today. And green. Who likes green and yellow? Like, you just talk all the day. So it's like, it's funny, but it's serious at the time. And obviously afterwards you laugh, like, really go into this killer mode of not liking a human being. But then, so who I looked up to, when I was competing. I mean, not competing. So Gail Devers was someone that I truly looked up to, and Jackie Joyner Kersee. Those were my two that not only were they amazing athletes, I just thought they were good people. Like in their interviews, I'm like, I think they're just so happy as a person, and I just want to be like them. And so growing up, knowing Jackie Joyner Kersee, obviously being from East St. Louis, it meant the world to think that I was carrying on the greatness of East St. Louis, and that when people saw me, they're like, like good things do come from East St. Louis. That was important.
Spend some time on that. I know you got a question too, but spend some time on that because you hear the crap right about East St. Louis, but it's hard to find another city that's created as many champions as East St. Louis.
Yes, it is. I think what we have the benefit of is the expectation, at least when it comes to sports. I say that's the benefit and the crush a little bit because it's like, can we direct a little bit of that expectation on some other things? Now, we do have some great people. My great friend has our own law firm. Like, we are handling business doctors. I mean, seriously.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to sports, it is a hands down, like, you go from, as soon as you're entering into high school, oh, I'm winning. Like, that's what you tell yourself. Even if you have kids that don't put in the work and they're like, I'm winning. I'm like, no, you're not. East St. Louis does not mean that you win. We would love for it to be that way, but you have kids that are on basketball teams, football teams, like, we just win. I'm like, well, because we work hard. You're forgetting the work hard part of it. But I will say this. When I walked around East St. Louis, literally, they would go, hey, champ, see you, champ. You're just like, okay, they truly pour into you greatness. Coach Fenoy, when we would take team pictures, he'd say, oh, say cheese. He would say, stay champions. And we were always like, Coach, you're so extra. And we just say, he's like, no, that's what we're going to be. That's just how we are wired. So if that's all I've ever known, you go somewhere else and you're like, oh, you're terrible. I'm like, first of all, no, I'm not, because I got like straight A's. So that's just a lie. And I'm also beating you. So you're really losing, So it's just, but I will say, I think the blessing also is I grew up in a household. My parents were very strict. If you don't get your grades, sports means nothing. I had one time where my best friend she got into my science class in 8th grade. And of course we talked. What, girl? That teacher not talking about nothing. And we just talked. And I got a D on my progress report. Never gotten a D before. My mother saw it and she said, I told you, if you did not get your grades, you cannot be on the team. So you're off the team. And I looked at her like, but I'm the best. Like, Mom, what are we talking about? And she said, it was very clear, we had an understanding. If you don't get your grades, you can't be on the team. The coach came to the house, and my mother said, could you please step off of my porch? Because if she doesn't get her grades, you can do nothing for her. Never in my life did that happen again. So that's how I was raised. So, yeah.
You're getting cold chills. It's a tough mama.
Yeah. Oh, my God, right? And that's who I am now.
God bless that 16-year-old. Hang on, Tim. Danny, and then Tim.
Okay. So you have so many accolades. Like, kudos to you, freaking amazing. Like, look up to you already right now. What's your defining moment where you felt success though? So you got the gold medal.
Are you serious?
Right? Like, what's that defining moment where like
get him out of here? That is a great question. I'm gonna have to really think.
Where you legit felt, because it's like, I mean, look at what you've done, right? You just talked about getting a D. Like, you overcame that shit right away.
Right.
Apologies for the video here. But like, for real, like, that's super impactful. And like, that mindset is what tailors you into the next growth phase, right?
Yeah.
But through that all, and as you look back and reflect, where is that defining moment where you're like, I have obtained success here, like I'm feeling success, but like even like a moment where it's like, I've just accomplished what I put out, like all this hard work for. I know the gold medal's there, so it's an easy.
No, I got you. I got the moment. So it's interesting because I've constantly been someone that is just next goal. And that's been a little bit of a crush because you literally almost like win the Olympics and you're like, Nick, man, did you say that? I'm like, well, yeah, but now I got this next race. So that's been a little bit of a crush because I want to attain that next thing. And I don't stay in the moment long enough to be like, wow, you worked your life for this 12 seconds, 48 seconds. But in 2012, before the finals, I had my coach, the way we had trained was, he's like, you're going to run this in the first round, this in the second round. Like, he was like, this is what it's going to take. And the way Sally from Australia was running, exactly how we thought. We knew I was going to have to break the Olympic record to win. That is a different mindset. Do not, I want to win the Olympics. I'm going to have to run faster than anyone that has ever run in the Olympics to win this race. That is crazy to walk to the line and say, okay, that's where I was. And so the first round, easy money. Second round, easy money. My coach goes, okay, yeah, you need to go out here in PR. That's run a personal best, fastest that you've ever run. He was like, I need you to mentally know that you're ready for the finals. Go out here and run a PR. I go out there, pew, and I run a PR. And I remember when I crossed the line, I was like, I literally go, boom, 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 because it's over. If I can lock in and just personal best, so that happens. And then now before the finals, my physical therapist that I had flown out there, my coach, I walk over to my coach and I'm looking for this pep talk, because this finals is coming. And he's like, you're ready. So my coach, I look at my coach and he's like, you're ready. And I'm looking at him like, so what else are you going to say? And he's like, there's nothing to say. He's like, you got something to say to me? I was like, no, I guess I'll just run. And so my physical therapist, he goes, let's walk. And so we walk around the track and it was like to a certain extent time stood still. And he's like, look at where you are. Like, look at how far you've come. And I remember really being like, this is crazy. Because I had never stopped, especially in that moment. Because in about 30 minutes, I was racing for my life. You don't stop and take him like, look at this guy. Look at all you've done. He literally was like, you're about to defend your title. First of all, you have a title. But you are the greatest 100-meter hurdler that ever lived. I was like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And what really made it crazy was I was ready to defend it. It wasn't a look at all that you've done. You're at the end. Just be happy. He's like, you're ready for the greatest moment of your life. And you've done so much so far. Where will you go? And we just talked about like everything. And it was the most beautiful moment because I didn't see that coming. Like I had plans for everything. I didn't see my coach saying, I don't know, go sit down when you're ready. And then my physical therapist like, let's have a moment. So that was a moment that helped me slow down in the midst of chaos and go, this is a beautiful life that I've created.
Beautiful. Tim?
Do you ever want to coach other professional athletes?
I get that question all the time. So I do, but...
How about wealth management advisor?
Right. So I am very clear to coach a professional athlete in the way that I was coached. I don't think I want to give my life away like that. To be a professional coach, I am very clear. I need to go to bed thinking about them. I need to wake up thinking about them. That's what I require from my coach. I wish he would not be wrecking his brain thinking about that third hurdle for Dawn. We got to figure that out. I want him to wake up. Got it. And that's what my coach, my husband actually lived with him for some years. And he said he would wake up in the middle of the night, go to his room and go, I know what it's going to take. And he'd be like, what are you talking about? He has it written out. And he's like, this is it. I don't want to do that. I know I would miss my children being raised because I would look at him like, what do they have today? And he'd be like, babe, I'd be like, oh, we got practice. Or it would consume me. To be great, that is what it's like. Because the athlete isn't the only one that's giving her all their time. When they go to weights, I'm at weights with them. Nutrition, we're talking about the nutrition plan. It is. And when they travel, I'm with them. I would pack my bag around April, and I'm not coming back to, mid-April, maybe late May-ish. And then I leave again after the trials. I'm gone for another month. So we're living out of a bag. Like my coach, so much so that so I ran for Nike. He bought a book bag, and we'll be gone for a month. And he would just tell Nike, send clothes to the hotel. Because he's like, I don't care what I am focused on you. That is all that matters. And when you talk to professional coaches, they say, I miss so much of my family. Like my wife, she, wives were men. Last one I thought was a man. That's why I said that. My wife, she did a great job raising the kids. I'm so happy they're happy. They graduated. they can't give you the details. I want the details of my kid's upbringing. But I do want to do some consulting work. And so what I have done is reached out to universities saying, I am so clear that I know what it takes. I can get athletes to lock in. I can get people to lock in. And I refuse to hold that to myself. And so I do consulting work, but sometimes I go to universities and they're like, pay them. And I'm like, all right, I'm like, come on. And then we work on the thing or whatever. But a lot of times it's the mental that I'm speaking to. And then I find myself in conversations with people all the time when they're like, how do you think of it that way? And I'm like, let's go get it. And they're going to work, not to, play sports. So yeah. So that's why I say, not necessarily because I
Great answer. Joey?
So as I'm a girl dad, I got 3 girls, and kind of like you said, probably a lot of us in here just got that golf.
Yes.
And the grit and the hunger and the same way with me growing up, really didn't have much at all. Like that was that drive, right? I'm gonna break the generation first, and I have.
Yeah.
Do you believe, because I suffer with this,
I know where you're going,
that you can be content without being complacent?
Okay, so when you say, and what do you like? What's the narrative? Because this
Well, we get older.
Yeah.
33.
Yeah.
It's just getting started. When I was it's us.
Yeah.
One it's
So some of that for me is, are you married? Are you dating someone? Okay, married. This is a full-blown conversation that you have to have and be so honest with your spouse, because I am so happy that I can be this killer with my husband. People have told him like, she aggressive, dog. She's an aggressive woman. I am. But I'm also very soft I can be soft with him. This is a space where we're talking about your killer. But I can be soft with him. With you talking about wanting to kind of chase that thing. I know, it's funny, that's all I say it. I know what you're saying. You're like, I don't want to be chasing it so much that you're like, almost like the dude when you're like, my wife did a great job raising my girls and they know I love them. Because what are we talking about if they're like, Dad sent me money, but he wasn't there? I think there's a balance that has to happen. So for me and my husband, I tell him all the time, there are some jobs I want to take, and if your schedule allows, we're going. So that is you being like, they're going to see you at work, because it's important for them to see you at work too, right? Not just saying, I do stuff. Come on, kids. I do stuff. If it allows, not every job. No, don't worry. Some jobs, they got to come with you, right? But then there's the understanding to your wife of, y'all here, but y'all not here. When I got to do this, please don't feel like I'm ignoring you, because I'm not paid. I'm working. And when I got my free time, we together, and then it's like I'm back. But I think it's the conversation, so then you don't have that back and forth of like, I'm trying to chase it. Does it feel like too much? Because when it's clear between the two of you, you don't have to question like, how's she gonna feel about me going after this? Because you talked about this. So when you get the phone call, you get an email, you just run it by her like, remember, I'm gonna be gone. Remember the first week. This is the third week. That's bitch's schedule because we talked about. You get what I'm saying? See, I like that. He's like, good.
She's dope. She's getting there. She's been with me since we have a kid at 19. I have all my kids with her. That's why I say my most proud accomplishment is
I love it.
My wife. But it's the conversation with me, not with her, right? The content with me.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. You got to be. So if she doesn't know some of these feelings, then you like low key.
You're saying you be content with not with her.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is she has to still know that you're like, I'm still struggling kind of being content, because your spouse is feeling all this and you think that you're really just having this conversation with yourself, but you're not. The reason why I said it is the decisions you make are affecting your spouse and your kids. So you're like, yeah and no. But, oh man, I'm content. I'm good. But she sees you over there like, he's not smiling as much. So now she's trying to figure, is it, or is it, or is it, or is it, or is it? And so that's when you have that conversation and it's clear, then you can let that part go and then you can start making your decisions. You're like, oh, I am good because I did the thing I truly want to do. And I chased what I truly want to do and I didn't have to worry about, am I here enough? Yeah. You know I love you, right? You know you get what I'm saying? When that part can really like be clear and let her know, I'm content, babe, but this moments where I don't feel like I want to do a little more. And as soon as you hear her say, go, babe, you're like, really? See what I'm saying?
It's like, why I'm here tonight.
Said, hey, no, I worked a little late last night, but like.
Been saying, when you let her know those, a couple of them nights gonna hit a little back to back.
Yeah.
But I promise you, I'm gonna stop in like 3 weeks, but 3 weeks about to be heavy.
Right.
Then, and, you gotta stand in there because you can't tell me 3 weeks and you fell into 4 weeks. Cause now I'm like, this is about to be my life and that's not what I signed up for because that's not what you told me. So that's what I'm saying. We just had a little moment. They just had a little moment. But we can talk more later.
Any other questions, Dimitri?
I'm going to fire a few out.
I love it.
See, earlier he had some questions, so come on, let's go.
Trash talking in your sport is ready. Last time you ran the hurdles, even for fun.
Today.
Can you beat a high schooler? Have you raced Alonzo and who won? And then what's your diet and exercise routine?
Okay, first question, trash talk. Yes and no. So to be honest, it's for a lot of the men that did the trash talk. Us women, we don't, for some reason, you're not about to come talk crazy to me. That's just not happening. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I give off a come talk crazy to me. I don't give that off. So none of the girls that are really said anything crazy to me. There was a moment where someone, so the blocks, we use the metal things that are on the ground. Those are called blocks. Definitely had somebody try and like move those. The tone that I went to, she immediately was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, listen, it is, it's like, hey, yo, don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. She was like, oh, my bad. I just left the blocks. You know whose lane this is. Don't play with me. So now she checked off because she mentally like, that girl crazy. She was talking to me, but never looked, don't play with me. Don't play. And she right here, don't play with me. You know what I mean? So I'm crazy there. So if that's what you want,
you look crazy.
You look crazy. No, because it is a straight intimidate. She's trying to intimidate me. And we were in Berlin, Germany. She ran for Berlin. I knew what she was doing. It wasn't going to work with me. And I was an Olympic champion. So she was trying, you just kind of test the waters. You got to see it. And I let her know it's hot over here. So then you said, I know another question was,
Time you ran.
So the last time I ran, that was actually last week. So last time I laced up and put on spikes, I just posted on my social media. Over hurdles, we had a hurdler who went in one state, but me and my husband were trying to have him work on something in particular. And that's very hard to really execute when you're just by yourself. Because of course you do it. You're like, do. I'm like, no, I need you to feel pressure and want to beat somebody and then still do it. And so I put on my spike and I raced him out of the blocks. And of course it was fun because I'm like, I'm 41. I'm like, I have nothing to lose, but I'm about to bush look. Yeah. But then the boys want to, they want to win. And I'm like,
who won?
I got him over the first hurdle, but also the measurement, he go a slightly longer distance. So, but yeah, we only went over one and it was funny because he's like, oh, almost got you. And I'm like, I've been out of the game. You're still working to get me. Then you said nutrition.
Did you race Alonzo? Did you say
Yes.
I beat an Olympia?
So that's annoying because the first time,
The speakers in there.
Listen, the first time we ever met was 8th grade, and we were at a summer track meet, and there were the hurdle race. It was full. It was okay. It was full year. So it wouldn't be summer track full, and I was the only girl, so they put me with the boys, and he was the only boy to beat me. And I crossed the line. And listen, I didn't know who he was. And I was like,
that's why you want to stay
who is
outside.
that? Right, that's what's in his spot. I was like, who is that? I want to race again. He said, he went to his parents and was like, why is she so mad at a boy? Like, she beat all the other boys. And I was like, I don't lose. So he was my loss from a boy. Blech.
Just want to know? I mean,
I
we're
know.
not, we,
Well, okay, so the other thing is,
I usually raise some money for charity, but that's the parking lot.
he ran professionally, so he's not a slow guy. So that's the other part. People, he could beat you. I'm like, I hope so if he ran professionally. So yeah, so then there's that. So he trained also with Allison Felix when she was training for the 2012 Olympics, where she won gold and stuff. And then he also would trained me and paid me for my stuff. So, yes, who says?
And then your diet and exercise now.
So diet and exercise now is very different than what it was when I was competing. I just wouldn't bring certain foods into the house because I was going to eat them. Like ice cream, I'm serious. How did I strawberry ice cream? I am powerless. Like
Powerless.
I am so like it was the thing me and my dad had growing. We ate ice cream. It would be we would race see fast. How fast each other could eat an ice cream cone. Then he would buy me a quart of ice cream, him a quart of ice cream. We would both eat an ice cream cone and then sit in front of the TV and eat our quarts of ice cream. That is crazy. How am I not sick with diabetes? Oh no, my mother would come in and she'd be like, Harper, she called my dad Harper. This is not okay. Like, this is not, and I'm over there like, eat it with my dad. Like, it's so bad. So, strawberry ice cream to me is my thing. Professionally, I would not bring it into the house. Tuesday nights would be my off night because Wednesday there's no practice. So we practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, sometimes Saturday. And so I would Tuesday night go to you got to get in the car, drive to the grocery store, get not a quart, an ice cream, come home and eat it. That's a lot of work. So if it's not in the house, oftentimes, like some weeks I would get it, some weeks I wouldn't. Obviously more greens and stuff like that when I was competing. Now, I'm eating out tonight and I don't know what I'm eating because it doesn't matter. But I would say this, I still work out a lot. My goal, this is a crazy goal. My goal is for you to see me and not say, he used to run. Like, that's really it. That's what I live. I tell
Keep wearing that shirt.
I am sorry. And I know life is gonna life. That's not what I'm saying. But as much as I can help it, I just don't want to be someone that's like, she clearly has 2 kids. Like, I don't want you to say that. I don't want you to say that. Oh, yeah. But yeah.
Any other questions for Ask My Final Question? No? Any others? All right. So we're at a place called Beyond. People like to call it a bar. I get it. We have a lot of alcohol in there.
Okay.
But we want to be a place where we are going beyond our expectations, right? Beyond for our community, beyond our own limiting beliefs, our own self-beliefs. That's why we're all here.
I love it.
I want it to be a bar where it's the only place on earth you can go and leave here better. And that's what we're going to do tonight because of you. And so when you hear the word beyond, what does that mean to you?
Oh, beyond the imaginable, beyond myself, beyond my fears. I think that's what I'm going to stop at. Beyond my fears. Because so many times that's where we will stop. To go beyond that, you're probably a different person. If you go beyond your fears, who are you really?
Into that.
That was a mic drop. I don't know.
That was a mic drop. Go beyond your fears. Ladies and gentlemen, Dawn Harper-Nelson. Awesome.